and decided to drop out of my honors class. Felt quite revolutionary. I used to have a Steve Biko afro back then at the start. And my parents didn't take that very well. Both of them have got PhDs, so they thought, hey, this guy, after putting $500,000 in his fees, he now wants to become poor. You know, it doesn't work. So they told me they're going to squeeze me out of their funds if I'm going to go down this route. I decided to carry on, and 2 months into it, I realized that they were onto something. This was tough, you know. I sold my bed to put our first investment into something in the business. And soon I couldn't afford the 3 meals that I used to have, courtesy of my mother's pocket money. So I had this system. You know, if there are any computer science people here, you know the binary system. 0 is nothing, 1 is something. So there are 3 meals in a day. So I'd go, either I can have 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0.
Oh, 1, 0, 0.
0, 0, 0. But what worked well for me was when we had events on campus. Because I knew there was always a free meal. I liked that, because then I could either have a 0, 1, 1, or 0, 0, 1, and then 1 the next day, carrying on from what I had. So, if any of you guys are as foolish as I was and are here to have a good meal, I guarantee you, by the time I finish my talk, you would have the itis, and you can go and sleep. And also at the rate at which technology is progressing in this world, due to some student who is grafting hard in med school, your life expectancy would have increased by about 9 days. So that's not a bad return on investment whilst I talk. So, first of all, I really just want to congratulate you guys for getting to the end of the road. My talk today is titled, Success in the Post-Varsity World Isn't For You. I used to admire those who had faith to start something. But being a small business owner and seeing the current frenzy around entrepreneurs and people constantly starting up something, and the mushrooming of would-be businesses, I have greater admiration for those who have the fortitude to finish something as opposed to just start it. And that falls amongst you guys. I especially have a higher appreciation for those who accomplish something, not achieve. And there's a difference I would like to highlight. And I'm very familiar with both accomplishment and achievement. My mother took 50 years to get accepted into a master's program. And many times it meant multiple submissions. Sometimes she would bribe me to write her essays. But nevertheless, at the age of 50, she got accepted into a master's program at GCT. That's accomplishment, going through the whole process. My best friend took 8 years to graduate with a 4-year engineering degree at GCT. That's accomplishment. Now, if you think this guy has got his degree and doing nothing, you've got it false. He now works for a company that contributes 3.2% to South Africa's GDP. Now, when he went to this job interview for this famous company, you know when your friend tells you they're doing something and you're just like, hey, geez, man, are you serious? But you can do it, you can do it. But inside you're feeling, woo! Does this guy really know where he's standing? You know, with 8 years of an engineering degree, he wants to go to work at the company's SAP. You know, he wants to be an engineer at SAP. But surprisingly, he got the job. And then the director of recruitment's words were that they looked at his journey as one of resilience and accomplishment. It takes a lot out of you to repeat something for 8 years. His sister came to varsity. His sister's 3 years younger than him. She started and finished and started funding him, you know, before he finished his degree. But nonetheless, now, 2 years after he finished, he's now a manager at one of the depots at SAP in Pretoria. That's accomplishment. And that's what you guys have achieved by just going through the journey at GCT. You're now part of an exclusive club of probably 1.6 million people with degrees in South Africa. You have higher chances of being employed because of the UCT brand, and a good statistic for those of you who usually don't have anything in a bank account after 2 weeks, with your UCT degree, you're likely to earn, and guys from graduate recruitment will tell you this, whichever career you take, possibly about 10,000 Rand a month going up. Now to put that into comparison, if you think it's little, a teacher with 4 to 8 years experience gets a salary of that, you know? So that's a lot. So I'd also want to shed a lot of light on this post-varsity world that you'll enter. To do this, I'm going to use 4 characters, 4 people I've met that will share the context of the message I want to share with you guys. So 2 years after selling my bed and starting this business, it started performing well. And we got some investors who decided to buy us out, give us some growth funding to grow the business to go forward. So I bought a bit of my equity. I'm not like Mark Zuckerberg, so I'm a bit normal. And with some of the money that I got, I decided to go reinvest in that honors program that I left. But in this case, I decided to do something else, do something in business, because I was feeling my inexperience was catching up. So I went to the Graduate School of Business and applied there. Now my transcript is not amazing. You know, I was one of those student leaders you read about in varsity, those guys. You know, they're always writing a SAP and a SAP and a SAP. Luckily I wasn't part of the academic exclusion, but you know, I was close. My GPA upper campus for economics and statistics was about 50% by the time I finished my degree, with 1 year extension. They would not accept me into any honors program, but I was hell-bent on getting into one. So the next year, I walked into the FAPM class and sat in the lectures. I wrote the first test without being registered, the second, the fourth, and the fifth. And because I felt, you know, like I was investing in something, I performed better than I had done in my undergrad. So much that the course convener decided, you know what, I'm going to write a letter to Senate and ask them to accept you into the honors program. It's quite jubilant. Until those professors at Senate say, no ways, process is process. You're not getting in. So I continued my class until the end of the year, and then I dropped off to go into the business. So when I was applying to the Graduate School of Business, I had a little most amount of faith. I thought this was back again. But fortunately, with God's grace, they accepted me into the class. Now, this class is not like any other class. This is middle managers. The average age of the class I was in was 34. And I was the youngest by possibly about 8 years. And the guys in there had a lot of work experience, which is what you guys are walking into now. So I decided to use their cases as vivid examples to show you of the world that you're going into. Now, the technology has let me down, but I've put their pictures here. I think you can see it in the next one. I'll ask one of the guys to shift it. And the other guys, you just have to walk with it. So the first character is a gentleman aged 32. He graduated with an honors in microbiology and was working at a science research company for about 6 years. The second character is a white female. She had no degree, still has, but now has, and had a combination of diplomas from all the FETs that you could see. The third character is a colored male, and this guy, he got denied a degree at UCT when he applied. He was at Weinberg Boys High. He applied for information systems, and they told him no. So instead, he went to CPUT. And the fourth character is for all those foreigners in here. I mean, this guy graduated with an engineering degree. Those are their faces. I won't tell their names. You know. And he applied, but he could not get a work permit. So he had to apply for that special skills permit. So let's start with character one. Now this character is 6 years work experience, as I said. He was the typical story, first graduate from his family, perfect picture, right? He started working, he had progressed in the corporate world, but as many of you will realize once you start working, getting bored is something that happens regularly. So after getting bored with being a researcher in science, he decided to change careers. So he applied to a famous Cape Town office, to a blue chip firm, one of those firms that were part of the financial crisis in America. His luck was with him. As he applied, they were looking for a researcher as well. He sent them his CV, and the recruiters were so happy that instantly they sent him to the CEO. They thought, oh, this guy is so great, man. When the CEO saw this guy, he felt that, there was something missing. So he said, so they didn't give him the job, and they told him, look, the reason we're not giving you a job is not about qualifications, it's about emotional maturity. And we all know what that means in the corporate working space. Basically what the CEO was saying was that they struggled to picture a boy who grew up in the township mingling with the CEOs of Santon, Constantia, or New York. That's working life for you. Now, in the business sense, it makes sense. You want the guys that mingle with clients to be chic. And that's why UCT graduates are seen as chic, with accents that are a bit different. But what I love most about character is he showed that a hard fall means a high bounce if you're made of the right material. He resigned from his research company because the truth of the matter was he was fed up. He went to the CEO of this blue chip firm and said, listen, you say I lack emotional maturity. Mentor me till I get that emotional maturity. This is a 32-year-old man. In order to sustain himself, he went and he started a restaurant in Khayelitsha at one of the shopping malls there, and is now competing with KFC. I have no doubt that this guy is going to get that job. That's the working life. You make your own decisions. You push yourself forward. Character 2, as I stated, is a white female. She had no degree, but a combination of diplomas and work experience. She was dyslexic, which means she was very fast sometimes, very slow. And emotionally, she had a relationship with a guy for 13 years, but the guy wouldn't be married to her. I feel some empathy. But she was doing well for herself. She sent her daughter to private school, and she was sustaining her life properly. But in 1 week, a partner left her. The business she was working for applied for business rescue, which means she was effectively fired and unemployed. And with a surname like Terra Blanche, it really doesn't work out for you in the corporate working world. But what I would like to highlight about character number 2 is she had a very good family and network structure. She wasn't one of those solo people, those guys that do tats on themselves and never want to share with anyone or get past exam papers and want their name to be number 1 and never want to pass them to everyone else. And because of this strong family and network support system, within a month she bounced back, got herself into a career that she wanted, and she's now a very successful operations manager for one of the American companies that are setting up in Cape Town. That's the second point I want to drive home. As you go in the corporate world, you need a strong family and network support system. Without that, you're sure as hell to crumble. Character number 3 is what I call the standard bearer of a successful corporate career. As I stated, he did not get a place at UCT, and he went to CPUT with his desired career path. After that, he got hired into a small IT firm and started working on installing the cabling, the cabling in these roofs, right, that supports our internet systems. And he did this for about 2 years. But he never let go of that ambition that he had when he applied to UCT. And he's now currently the head of BP in the Western Cape after 6 years. Now what this guy shows us is that if you have a roadmap, and if you follow that roadmap and close away all the noises, you can have a very successful corporate career. people in the corporate world value hard work, they value persistence, and they value people who can create value. And all of us in here have got that. It's not a competition. You just inherently get that. Character number 4 is for all those foreign students sitting here. All he shows us is something simple. As I said, he graduated from UCT with his electrical engineering degree, and from about June of his 4th year, all the recruiters were running for him, including McKinsey and every single thing. But none of them really wanted to touch him after they realized that he didn't have a work permit. So after he graduated, he decided to apply for a special skills permit. And Home Affairs, being Home Affairs, took 2 years to do that. Now in those 2 years, he sat with his degree, doing odd jobs. At one stage he was catering, at another stage he was an intern at our business, at another stage he was working at a church. But he never, ever stopped holding on to his dream of working in South Africa. And now, he works for Huawei, you know, the Chinese company, in the telecoms industry, and has got an apartment in Sandton. That's something Chuck Norris cannot even pull off. And again, it highlights the very fact that even if you have a date with destiny, like Obama, Mandela, and all those other people you read about in the news, if you don't have a plan and you don't work on it, nothing will materialize. So what I've really learned in my short corporate career is I'm really starting to feel like greatness is a decision because God offers us the opportunities to meet it. Many times we cry for the past that is gone, we stress about the future that hasn't arrived, and we fail to live in the present and make it awesome and plan for the happiness we want. When you get into the corporate world, you'll have moments like these. When you feel like time is slowing down, the air becomes still and thick, and everything around you seems to draw to an end. When that happens, don't be dwarfed by it. Embrace it, and make it a moment that you'll forever remember because you took it on as a challenge. I had a privilege one of these past months to have a dinner with the ruler of Dubai, Sheikh bin Rashid Al Maktoum. And in a discussion about how they made Dubai a beautiful city from the desert's sands, he told me this quite poignant story. He said, every morning in Africa, a gazelle wakes up. It knows it must run faster than the fastest lion, or it will be killed. Every morning, a lion wakes up too. It knows it must outrun the slowest gazelle, or it will starve to death. It doesn't matter whether you're a lion or a gazelle. When the sun comes up, you better be running.
All right.
This goes against the current grain of today's philosophy, which is, if it doesn't make you happy, just cry and throw it out. Success isn't for you in your post-varsity career. It's for everyone else in your family and your support system. And when you graduate and Max Price or whoever he designates caps you, you realize it because you walk out with a feeling of emptiness. But when you walk into that photo booth and you see the smiles of the people that paid your fees, you realize that success isn't for you. It's for everyone else around you. Now, I have 2 wishes for you as you go into the corporate career and start your careers. The first one is that you fulfill your potential and you meet God's purpose for you. The second one is that you do not become kept out of the unexpected problems, but that you be able to confront them and overcome them. As my political self would say, this freedom we have was bought by blood. We owe it to our anterior and posterior generations to buy it with sweat. Post-varsity success isn't for you. It's for the people around you. All the best in your futures.